In the last century, cities grew vertically, skyscrapers, highways, dense populations. But in the 21st century, cities are no longer just physical spaces. They are megaregions, vast, interconnected zones of power that stretch across multiple cities, states, and even countries. And the strange part? Most people don't even realize they exist. These megaregions don't appear on your Google Maps. They don't have flags, borders, or mayors. Instead, they are linked by supply chains, financial networks, corporate infrastructure, and digital systems. They operate silently, like shadow networks that shape the global economy from behind the scenes. Examples already exist. The Boswash Corridor connecting Boston to Washington, D.C., the Tokyo, Osaka megazone, and the Pearl River Delta in China. These are not cities, they are economic organisms. They function as unified ecosystems of money, data, energy, and talent. What happens in one part instantly affects the rest, like a heartbeat pumping through a massive body. Governments struggle to control them because megaregions follow economic logic, not political boundaries. A tech hub in one city might depend on factories in another, logistics near a port, and digital infrastructure buried under yet another region. Together, they form invisible empires more powerful than any individual city or state. This is why the world's richest corporations prefer them. Megaregions create stable environments for innovation, large talent pools, and seamless global connectivity. They become shadow capitals, where decisions that shape nations, everything from tech policy to food supply, are made quietly, far from public view. The rise of these hidden megaregions marks a shift from nation-states to network states. And soon, the real question won't be, what country do you live in, but which megaregion controls your future? Across the world, something extraordinary is happening quietly, without political votes, media debates, or public announcements. Cities are merging. Not officially, not on paper, but in reality. The boundaries that once separated towns, metros, and regions are dissolving, replaced by vast, continuous zones of infrastructure, commerce, and population, what experts now call megaregions. These are not just big cities. They are entire geographic arcs where economic and human activity flows seamlessly across hundreds of miles. In the United States, for example, the stretch from Boston to Washington, D.C., is no longer a chain of separate cities. It is a single economic organism known as the Boswash Corridor. In China, the Pearl River Delta links cities like Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Hong Kong, and Macau into a region with more people and economic output than many countries. In Europe, high-speed rail has effectively merged cities like Amsterdam, Brussels, Paris, and Cologne into one interconnected powerhouse. This merging is not happening randomly. It's driven by logistics hubs, trade networks, tech corridors, and digital economies that ignore old boundaries. High-speed internet, instant communication, and hyper-connected supply chains mean that companies no longer care where the city limits are. They operate across regions, not municipalities. Workers commute farther. Goods move faster. Data moves instantly. And with each passing year, national borders matter less for economic power, while megaregions matter more. A company in Los Angeles collaborates daily with teams in San Diego and Tijuana. A factory in Shenzhen produces parts for startups in Hong Kong within hours. These regions behave like single, coordinated systems. What's emerging is a world where traditional cities fade, replaced by sprawling shadow cities, economic giants with influence that transcends governments, nations, and political maps. How shadow cities control global trade, wealth, and innovation. Shadow cities are not just clusters of skyscrapers or oversized metropolitan zones. They are the command centers of the world's economic machinery. These megaregions operate like invisible empires, quietly directing the movement of global trade, money, innovation, and political influence. What makes them extremely powerful is not their population size, but the density of influence packed into their corporate towers, financial districts, and ultra-specialized zones. Inside these cities, the world's most profitable industries converge: finance, tech, pharmaceutical giants, energy conglomerates, luxury manufacturing, advanced research labs, and intelligence-linked innovation hubs. Decisions made in a single shadow city boardroom can reshape entire national economies thousands of miles away. For example, A credit rating agency in New York can decide the borrowing cost of an African nation. A VC firm in San Francisco can determine which technologies will define the next decade. A logistics hub in Singapore can control which countries receive vital goods during shortages. Shadow cities also host the most advanced digital infrastructure on the planet: data centers, algorithmic trading systems, AI clusters, and cloud servers that run global corporations. This means the world's digital and financial heartbeat is literally pulsing inside these hidden mega-regions. They can shift the value of currencies, reroute supply chains, and even influence election outcomes through the tech platforms headquartered within them. Governments are increasingly dependent on these mega-regions because they generate disproportionate tax revenue, attract international talent, and house the corporate elites who shape policy. The irony is that while countries pretend to run the world, shadow cities silently run them. Their influence expands without democratic oversight, without transparency, and without accountability. In the emerging global order, nations are becoming weaker, and shadow cities are becoming the true centers of power. As global power quietly shifts from nation-states to economic megaregions, a new form of governance has begun to emerge, one that operates without elections, without public scrutiny, and without any obligation to transparency. These shadow cities, formed by clusters of high-density economic hubs across continents, have evolved their own internal rules, priorities, and decision-making systems. They do not seek permission from voters. They simply optimize for profit, innovation, and global influence. Inside these mega-regions, corporations, financial institutions, venture capital networks, and data monopolies operate as the real governing bodies. They influence urban design, transportation infrastructure, property development, surveillance systems, and even cultural norms. Their reach extends through algorithmic decision-making, predictive analytics, and real-time economic modeling, allowing them to shape future policies before governments even understand the data. Think of them as self-sustaining ecosystems. Talent flows in, capital circulates internally, innovation compounds exponentially, and regulations adapt to the needs of growth rather than the needs of citizens. In these environments, economic output, not democratic participation, determines which rules survive. Governments, ironically, end up adjusting their national policies to align with the demands of these mega-regions instead of the other way around. Shadow cities also collaborate with each other across borders, forming what analysts call transnational influence corridors. These corridors allow them to bypass traditional governments altogether. A city like Singapore may coordinate digital policy frameworks with Dubai, Austin, and Seoul more effectively than it coordinates with its own regional neighbors. In effect, they create a network of city-based governance, a parallel political structure where power flows through economic nodes, not political capitals. This is the silent revolution, a world where cities, not countries, set the global agenda, and where your future may be dictated not by your government, but by the mega-region you live in. In the age of shadow cities, geography no longer behaves the way your school map taught you. Power is no longer tied to a country's borders, mountains, rivers, or population size. Instead, power concentrates itself in clusters of ultra-connected urban corridors, dense webs of wealth, data, infrastructure, and people that operate independently from national politics. These mega-regions, stretching across multiple cities, sometimes even crossing national boundaries, form their own economic ecosystems, where capital circulates faster, innovation accelerates brutally, and decisions impacting millions are made quietly inside corporate boardrooms and private networks. This is the new geography of power, where influence flows through fiber optics, satellite grids, and high-speed rail lines rather than highways or ports. These shadow cities create a parallel world, a world where the elite move seamlessly between finance hubs, energy hubs, tech hubs, and political hubs while the average citizen remains confined within traditional borders. In these regions, data replaces voting power, corporate influence outweighs national laws, and algorithmic governance becomes the silent ruler. What emerges is a future where cities like Singapore, Dubai, Shenzhen, Silicon Valley, Lagos Corridor, and the European Blue Banana aren't just influential. They act as independent power blocks, shaping global economics more decisively than many sovereign states. The new geography doesn't ask who controls land. It asks, Who controls networks? Who controls flow? Who controls the future? And increasingly, the answer is the shadow cities.